Hello, hello, hello. Okay, first things first. There's no face cam today because I was trying a new camera and it's weird and I need to work it out more. So we'll work that out. But you don't need to see my face because it's not about the face. It's about the tiny faces that I paint and my hands. So I'll just talk with my hands more. Maybe I should get some googly eyes. Something like that. Anyway, how are we all doing today? It's another Thursday. It's another coffee morning with the KAIJU. I got my coffee. I got my big coffee. Lovely, lovely, lovely. How are we doing? Who we got here today? Hey, right, Jam. Hello, Fireman. Hello to Gimli. I'm gonna read this shit and go. Hello, Lars. How are we all doing? What was on about here? Yeah, 5th of November. Are you getting some fireworks tonight? I don't know. It's weird because there's a couple of different places around mine that do fireworks. But strangely, in years gone by, you'd just hear fireworks for like 2 weeks straight, like every night, because apparently nobody knows when the 5th is. But now, suspiciously quiet. But anyway, so what we're doing is we're getting back to it. Big old the bad lad, Burton. So we've got a fair amount of it done. So I'm over here because I played around with some stuff. Mikey very kindly showed me how I might have to play around with it a little bit more. I had it all nice. I just keep this open, that should keep, there we go, yeah. Brilliant, so I'll keep this thing open. I can keep playing around with it. Great. Good, 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 good. Yes, V for Vendetta did make it very well known across the world. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's not a bad movie. I think it's pretty funky. So yeah, so we had Big Barry. I'll tell you what. So we'll play around here. How close can we get in? Zoom. Focus even. So there we go. There's Barry. That's what we've done so far. Oh, it's out of focus. Oh, we were doing so well. There we go. So really what needs to be doing is, I just want to sort of highlight the shirt. It's got a little stars logo on there that we'll probably do some detailing on. A couple of little bits on the flesh. Maybe the pants. And it'll be good to go. And then we can move on to another one. Okay. Right, so what we're going to start with. So first of all, we're going to go with like a little brush. So I want to sort of highlight the red a bit because we washed it all down. And now we need to brighten it back up. Once again, I've not touched this palette in a week, so I can very much. Do you know what? Green Stuff World's wet palette, I really like it. I like it a lot. We'll go with it. So I don't want to go mad, but I did like the the artwork that I found the other week that I was using as a reference thing, it was very bright. So the jeans were very blue, the shirt was very red. So I want to keep that, but I don't want to go too over the hill. You know, just mainly focus towards like the higher areas of this vest. Classic Citadel paints. That's such a nice smell. I'm just gonna move that over there. Move my brushes over there, otherwise I'll smoosh them. Yeah, classic Citadel paints just had the nicest. It was probably something like violently carcinogenic, but oh, that was it, because old Citadel paints, I think it's the white, old Citadel white, like skull white or whatever it was called, had lead in it, I think, something like that. And then obviously lead is hella bad for you. I mean, it has applications, but being on the inside of you is not one of those. So they had to change the pigment mix for white, and it's just never been the same since. Yeah, some paints do smell different to other ones. Not entirely sure why. It's probably because every company has their own proprietary blend of how they make their paints. Lead paint, delicious but deadly. Yes. What ones have a distinctive smell of Dad's Humbrol? Yeah, Humbrol enamel paints. Yeah, because they're sort of like an oil paint or something, or an alcohol base. They're an alcohol based paint, I think. But yeah, they've got a distinctive aroma about them. Heady. I think you're right. With the lead-based paints and things, it probably does come down to, like, you know, the old, like the Mad Hatter thing where they use a lot of lead in hat making, so it sent the hatters mad. Might be the same with mini painters. So keep an eye on your grognards. Any of your any old school hobby painters that you might know, check in on them, because they may be lead poisoned. Snakebite leather was the best colour. Oh, that was a good one. Putting transfers on your dreadnought. Ooh, Buddy Rose, what transfers are you putting on your dreadnought? What kind of dreadnought are we playing with here today? What is the best white paint? White Scar and Corax. White, very lumpy. Yes. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Citadel's whites. Like you said, they're lumpy. And they dry very chalky. I can recommend Dead White and Arctic White from Game Color Vallejo. They are pretty good. Still a little bit chalky at times. But really, if you want a good white, like a good solid like titanium white, what was it? Winsor & Newton Winsor & Newton titanium white is really good, and depending on the project, I tend to use a lot of white ink now rather than white paint. Yeah, Wraithbone's pretty bad to sort of hand brush on. It's alright to airbrush, but you're still going to be there for a while, like. Hey, Mikey, good to see you. Alright, using Vallejo paints to slowly dope my Macedonian phalanx, and the difference between metallics and Citadel stuff is awesome. Yeah, Vallejo is Vallejo's got some really nice stuff. I've been bewitched by the Reaper Bones stuff at the moment, the Master Series paints, mainly because we had a friend who was raving about them for ages, and he was right too. They were good. He showed the work, and he was like, "Yeah, no, this is really good." But at the time, very few places that I was like buying from would, well, pretty much none of them would stock it, and I couldn't really be bothered to go out of my way for it. And now there's a lovely place, Northumbrian Tin. Yeah, Northumbrian Tin Soldier in North Shields. They do a whole range of their own sort of miniatures for fantasy. They're great, like lots of D&D. It's very Terry Pratchett inspired style to them. Really recommend you check them out. But they've opened up a shop as well, and so you can get all sorts of stuff there. But they're stocking all the Reaper Bones paints, and it's just it's lovely. So yes, go check out Northumbrian Tin Soldier. They're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and things like that. So go check them out. Two lovely blokes, Simon and David. Referring to those charlatans that upsold me. Yes. When we went, I took Mikey and a few others along, and the other week, and Mikey he's been on the fence. He was like, I want to paint something big. Like I want to paint like a big, like maybe like a big Tau robot or something like that. And he ends up buying a knight. He goes, buys it, like he's like, I might get like a broadside or something like that. He goes, I've bought a knight. I was like, brilliant, love it. But no, they sent me a message a few days later saying, oh, by the way, we've overcharged your mate for the knight. So we can either give him we can just send him like 10 quid by PayPal, or give him like 15 quid like store credit because we've overcharged him. It's like, what? It's like, that's very nice. Very nice of them. Here for the public apology concerning the mulled monster drinks. Absolutely not. I will not apologise for that. For anybody who's not in the know, in the Discord, I recommended that it is now the season for mulled monster energy drinks. I stand by it. Get on board. Or get out my way. Yeah, but like Beanie's Imperial Fist, I think he's found a sort of a good halfway point, because they're not all. It's not like solid yellow. It's like spot colours of yellow. It's the same way that I've managed to not go insane doing Silver Templars. Okay, so yeah, mulled monster. Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this for a second. So it's getting colder in the UK. So you want to keep yourself warm. And yes, Lamenters are the ones with the checkerboard pattern. So you want to keep yourself warm. So, you know, I'm a big fan of Monster Energy drinks, as people will know. And I suggested a mulled monster. And I think that's a great idea. I think mulled monster is great. It's also art. And anyone who's known me for any amount of time, what do we never do? We do not apologise for art. So I will not be apologising for mulled monster. Yeah, Lamenters. People who willingly paint Lamenters is like not a challenge, just as like a thing to do. They're built different. They're either like it's either like the new form of like Olympian gods, like, you know, taking the form of mortals, and then just making a Lamenters army. Is like, or they hate themselves and kind of want to push that on other people. Right, so I've got the... It's still not quite popping, so we either need to do a couple more layers or we need to go brighter. Gotta go to work, but this was fun. I'll catch you later, Jenko. Right, it was good seeing you. Have a good time. See, the thing with red is that it's a bit of a pain in the arse to lighten. You gotta like... Because you can't just put white in it, because then you get pink. So you gotta put like an orange, or like a sort of an orangey brown. Worst armor pattern outside Lamenters. Hang on, I've got a poster of. I've got a poster of different. Because it's anyone that's been quartered. So I think like Nova Marines maybe. Let me check. Hang on. Where are they? Aye, there we go. Brazen Claws, trash. Firelords are trash. Howling Griffins, trash. Nova Marines, I was right, trash. Angels of Defiance, trash. Angels of Redemption, half trash. Yeah, I think I painted a Firelord actually. Where is it? Yeah. Yeah, so anybody that's got like the quarter armor, that's trash. Oh, Marines Malevolent. Yeah, they're just ugly. I wouldn't say it's the worst, but it's ugly because the Marines Malevolent. The yellow is like, it's piss yellow. But like sick piss. Like, if you pissed that, you'd know you'd have you had some kind of problem. Don't mind the original salamanders too much. All right, so if it's hard to keep highlighting it, could you not darken the shadows more? You see, yeah, you could do. But then you run the risk of losing, like, the color, because you don't want to go too dark, especially when I'm already happy with how the shadows are. I'm happy with the dark tones in this. I just want to make a few little places pop a little more. It's more about layering than anything else. It really comes down to sort of a level of impatience with my painting, because I'm in this weird sort of, I'm one of those odd people where like I've done more sort of like layering and glazing, but I'm still, like I said, I'm still quite impatient. So if I can sort of just quickly like edge highlight something with just opaque paint, I'll do that. Yeah, so originally this had originally I sort of mixed a small amount of purple in with the red base coat, and then just sort of layered up from there. But then it was just a black all over wash. The idea here is, what I wanted to do is show something to people, that something you can do with your own board games. So all this has really been a base coat and a wash. Now we're kind of getting into the fancy schmancy stuff that you'll want to do with like hero, player characters. So like Big Barry here, you'll want to go around and like do a little bit of a touch up in places, and this can be as simple as just adding a little bit of white to whatever base coat, or even just going over with the original base coat, which is what I'll probably do sort of here. Is it? Yeah, is it? Like I said, it's nothing too fancy. We're not trying to win awards here. We're just trying to make people, when they come around and have a look at something, they go, "Oh, that's nice. That must have taken you ages." And you go, "Yeah, yes, it did." But then you go, "It's not too long." So this. Oh yes, and I did dig out. So yeah, I painted a Fire Lord donkeys ago for some reason, and I fucking hated it. There. Absolute. Just absolute goddamn. It's a trash armor scheme. See it like that. Awful trash armor scheme. Let me get the stubble effect right. Yeah. I think my eyes were opened when someone pointed out that you can just take what is it called? If you take Dragonoff Nightshade or any blue tone, like a blue wash, and then thin that down even more, like, because Dragonoff Nightshade is stupidly powerful. It is dangerously powerful. Be careful with it. And if you color it down and then glaze that on to like stubble or bald heads and things like that, the blue mixes with the blue acts as a filter over the skin tones, and it works for a very good stubble effect, or a shaved effect. the fuck are you doing? Sorry, I've just seen I've genuinely never seen that marina hats. Oh, I painted this up, God, ages ago, maybe like a year or two ago. Back when I was still painting in the loft. I can't quite remember why. I think it was because, I don't know, it was a period of time where I hated myself or something. Quite alright. What would you say is the most irritating type of model to paint? Ooh, do you know what? I can tell you exactly the most irritating type of model to paint is, for me personally anyway, is anything that has a lot of like cloth and armor. So Dark Angels can be a bit of a pain to paint for me. The worst offenders are the Sequitors from Age of Sigmar for the Stormcast Eternals, because they've got just enough cloth on them that it's not worth base coating the whole thing, like not worth like spraying the whole thing in the cloth base coat that you want, but also there's not enough metallic for you to want to just spray everything in the metallic, like for the metal armor, and it's just, it's a pain. I find it a pain because obviously you want armor to be shiny, and you want cloth to be matte, and I find it's nice if you've got something that can be all matte, because then you can just do something like, you know, matte varnish or something like that, and then brilliant, ooh, everything's super matte, looks great. But then if you want like armors to be like a little bit more satin or more gloss, and then you're playing around with other things, it's just, I find it a bit of a pain. Yes, I know fish. Admittedly, Dark Angels aren't the worst, because they have a good midpoint, but the core concept, yeah, feathers can be a tricky one. To pretend it's silk. Yep, there you go. You see, right there. Mikey's in there with the solution. So here we're just doing like a quick little highlight just on the really just raised edges. I don't want to go too mad here, because this is quite a powerful colour, so I don't want to go too much. And where I can, I'm using the side of my brush. Oh, Not yet, fish. You just have a crack at it. Like, there's stuff that I like. For me, human skin tones, I always find very, very difficult to do. But I'm getting there. Practicing. Just a little bit of practice where I can. Now, so I take it we've got a couple of Warhammer fans here. Let us talk about the reveals. From Warhammer Day. God bless Warhammer Day. It was good. I enjoyed myself anyway. Watch the reveals. Very, very excited for two things in particular. One, new Warcry. need to get back into playing Warcry, because we got sent the original box set. It was actually the first. I think it was the first thing we officially got sent on the channel was Warcry. For a little tidbit of information for you. And then the other thing from the reveals is Gene Stealer Cults. Yeah, yes, Jam Slam straight there. Gene Stealer Cults. Yes, I'm so excited. I love Gene Stealer Cults. I started them 8th edition. Yeah, are we in 9th? Yeah, we're in 9th edition. So yeah, I started them in 8th edition. So it was just before lockdown. Yeah. Yeah, it was like new army kind of thing, because I've been going through, like, I only ever really, every edition I always go, oh, I'm going to do a different army, and I always just do fucking Marines. But now I've actually settled on Silver Templars. I love them. I love the fact that lore-wise, they're sort of like, we're a successor to the Ultramarines, but we're also called Templars. And they're just great. They're great. I know they're like narratively, they're sort of like, we're just very good at everything. You're like, oh, so is everybody else in the Space Marines. Brilliant. But yeah, but the Gene Stealer Cult, I started them up. Yeah, so in 2020. Yeah, so yeah, before 9th edition. And I kind of didn't do much with them because I was getting ready to play them and things, and then the points cost meant that, like, I have a fair amount of them, but I still don't actually even have 1,000 points yet, and that's a ridiculous thing for me to say. But now they're getting an update, which is great, and a new model, which is lovely. I'd be interested to see if it's going to be an HQ or an Elite, because we have enough HQs. And yes, Mikey's poor hands after doing Warcry. Mikey had, well, he'd been in Warhammer for a year or two at this point, but he'd never done such a huge amount of building in such a short amount of time. And so when we built all the terrain, one entire warband, and painted it, his hands had cramped up so badly. Like, so badly. Bless him. But we managed it. It was beautiful. And yes, the Custodes, the Blade Champion is is amazing. That Blade Champion, I read the rules profile for it, and I'm like, oh, that's absolutely sickening. It's got like 3 different weapon profiles for its sword, depending on, like, its fighting style, which is great. I think that's very thematic for the Custards. Every time they do it. Lars, do you have access to any type of 3D printing? Because if you do, Battle Yak, this month's Patreon is called the Sons of Primus, and if you check out Battlecheck's Patreon, it'll show you, and they look fucking amazing. Oh yeah, so for lore stuff, Looting does some really nice lore videos that I quite like, because they're very sort of like matter of fact. Who else is it? 40k Theories, I think he's called. They do some really good videos. It's quite nice to watch. I would definitely, as a starting point, I'd say Looting, or like Fish said, just reading a wiki and then just finding out what you like, zero in from there. If you do have the cash to spare, the Loremaster series is pretty alright, but on Warhammer Plus. And yeah, so Lars, I would say check out Battle Yak. Their latest Patreon has some really nice like corn it's like I said, it's called the Sons of Primus, but they look like perfect corn berserkers, but with a nice like spin of Doom Eternal aesthetic to them. So they've got like a bit like the Marauder from Doom Eternal. Fucking brilliant. Is it worth getting another knight from Forge World? Oh, possibly. We'll have to check out. We'll check out the rules later for some of those, and we'll see, because it might be an idea if you wanna gan mad, like wanna be a proper mad lad. Major Kill's alright. Yes, we will get back to Warhammer once, like, because I've just not really been drinking or out and about. I also got to pick a good subject. So what I'm doing here is it's mainly just sort of just mixing in a lot of white with a touch of the blue, just to brighten up the shirt a bit more. Like we were discussing earlier, whites can be a bit chalky. So I tend to do multiple thin coats. This is the one thing where I can't rush, because I'll take like the chalky and clumpy of white when you've just slapped on a thick coat is just so much worse than just, you know, the patience of layering. So I'll take that. What I might have to do 3D printers. Sorry, I'll let the chat go for a little bit there. I was lost in the sauce, in the white sauce, because I do love me some white sauce. So yeah, I don't need to do that because I've got the little focusy thing here. So let's get all up amongst it, see what happens. Come on. you can see. So I've done a couple of highlights. So he's got the shirt, the pants and everything like that. That's all sorted. I think I'm probably going to leave the leather and the boots, and I might do a couple of just little very slight highlights just in the hair and just around the face, just to make them pop a little bit more. But then we'll pretty much call that finished, and we'll move on to another one of the Resident Evil minis. Just getting, there we go. Alright, what did I just say I was doing? Yeah, highlight in the face. Yeah, some really nice reveals from the Warhammer live event, which I'm very happy about. I've just realised that the things I got so excited about, it completely eclipsed the fact that Age of Sigmar is getting a new, there's a new battle tome and a new model for the Maggot King. And there's been some new rumours and speculation about a plastic Horus Heresy box set, which is pretty exciting, to be honest. Like, I could very much potentially see myself doing a Horus Heresy, like if it is just sort of like a kind of like a specialist thing rather than just it being the third game system, I could potentially get involved with that. That fly shaman, yeah, that shaman's very cool. All I'm doing here is just adding a little bit of highlights to the muscles. You gotta pump the muscles. HH Vengeful Spirit box set, so it's doubtful. Maybe you might see, like, as the Horus Heresy books continue, you might see that as a mission pack. But I don't think you'd ever see Well, I mean, if they release the Emperor as a model, it's game over. In my opinion, anyway. They might do it, but they could certainly do a mission pack of Sanguinius versus Horus. That'd be great. Like, I'd like to see something like that. But has anyone seen the old school diorama of the Jewel on the Vengeful Spirit? Like, they have it in one of the first. Well, I don't know whether it's changed now, but when you go to Warhammer World, go to see the exhibition hall. You know, you pay your money, you get your ticket, and you're like, ooh. You come in, the first thing is it's this really unassuming, like, L-shaped corridor when you go in, because the exhibition hall's like upstairs and like the second floor, so you got to go upstairs and then along and down and round, and you come back. But the entrance is like just through like 2 fire doors, and it's through like it's just through 2 like sort of regular fire doors. You go in and there's like 3 IKEA glass cabinets to your left, and you're like, have I just wasted £7? But you look, and it's all old school Warhammer, and I mean like really old school, like back in the like starting days of Citadel and Games Workshop. And one of them is the tiny this tiny diorama of it's Sanguinius lying dead on the steps of the Vengeful Spirit, and there's Horus, he's pointing his sword, and there's the Emperor and things, and it's old school as all hell, old school painting style, old school modelling. I think it's from like early 90s, something like that, late 80s, can't remember exactly where it's from, but yeah, it's a very famous diorama if you've been big into Warhammer. But as I said, you do this whole sort of thing where you go, have I just sort of kind of like wasted my money a little on the exhibition hall? Is this what it's going to be like? But you see that, and then part of you goes, that's fucking cool, like that's great. You see that, but then you go up the stairs, you go around, and then there's like the huge like the proper exhibition halls, and they're massive with bespoke dioramas and like everything like that, and it's just this huge fucking beautiful place, and you're just like, why did you open with like this dingy L-shaped corridor with like a bunch of stuff from 40 years ago in it? As I said, it may have changed now, but that's what it was like last time we were there, which would be about, very sadly, about two years ago, nearly 3 years ago. It used to be we'd go every year. But we've not been back. Hopefully we're going to get that sorted. Jeez, people saying about the Primarchs. Yeah, I know people used to say that it was, if they brought the Primarchs back into 40k, it would be game over. But I think with the Emperor in the Heresy, well, I can see it happening. He does take part in, when it comes to the Siege of Terror and all that, he is going to be doing stuff, so it just depends on what the book itself focuses on, I guess, which will be interesting. But we're probably not going to see that book for a while. Okay. I do regret getting rid of my old, like the old codexes and rule books from previous editions. I do wish I'd sort of hung on to some of them, because they're all. I find myself now, it's not like the rule sets or anything like that. It's going back and seeing like artwork and descriptions and things, and to see how things have changed. You know, like design choices and stuff. But, so yes, we'll, so there we go, there's Barry Burton. He's done. So, I mean, really I should try and paint in the eyes, but also I don't want to ruin everything I've just done over the past week or so. Oh, that was it. His Stars logo. So... Right, how are we going to do? I guess just I guess we'll just sort of do it black and oh, big potential fish. Which editions are we looking at here? So here I don't want to do anything too, yeah, if I just sort of kind of just layer over it a little bit, just to give the idea of stitching and what have you. There we go. Yeah, just a bit of a thinned down black. It's enough because it'll dry a little bit transparent, so it'll give the idea of stitching logo. At least that's what I'm saying. But we'll call that finished. So I'll stick some proper pictures of that up on the Discord when we're finished. How about, where else we got here? So it's 5 to 11. That's great. So we can either do, and we'll see, we'll put this up to the viewers. Should we do a zombie or Lisa Trevor? Nice little zombizzle. Or Lisa Trevor. Yeah, we'll go with Lisa then, shall we? Thought that might be the case. Oh, that's brilliant. Because whatever we do on Lisa is sort of a good yardstick on how to do the zombie. If you get my drift. So we'll have a play around with some colours and paints. This is annoying. I can't find. Tell you what, Judge. Take pictures of the covers. Stick them up in Wargaming on the Discord. And either myself or somebody else, one of the other beautiful wargamers in that beautiful Discord, will be able to identify them. Right, so with Lisa, it's working out what's her skin and what isn't. I tell you, actually, what I'm going to do is. Who's Lisa Hogan? I don't know. Just going to bring up a picture, and then I can see what I'm looking at here. Because I want to try and keep things, fairly close to the. No, I don't care about the Resident Evil movie in that sense anyway. I do care about the new Resident Evil movie, but here we go, concept. So let's have a look here. I'm just sort of having a look at seeing what we've got. Alright, okay, cool. Alright, okay, so she's not actually too monstrous. In terms of skin tone and stuff, it's really just making sure that the skin that she's flayed from other people does look different to her own skin. Oh, Resident Evil Remake was so good. You're talking about the one on GameCube? Oh, it was unreal. That right there is why we're not going to go back. Because I know they've done Resident Evil, they remade Resident Evil 2, remade Resident Evil 3, and they were very well received. You've got Resident Evil 1 in the bag. You don't need to do it again. Same with 4. Don't need to do that again. So, we'll have a look around. Have a look and see what we've got. Okay. So, Lisa Trevor. So she's kind of got like a greenish blue, like a medical, her robe is sort of, the dress that she's wearing is sort of like that medical blue-green. What else we got here? And then the flesh is a bit pallid. And she's got pretty fairly standard skin tone. It's just about muddying her up, really. Yeah, that shouldn't actually be too difficult. Okay. Might be a bit of back and forth finding out where the tears are for skin and things like that. So that's an idea. So we'll do the skin tone first because that's quite bright. So what I think is Nord Bone will work for the skin that's not hers, the stuff that she stitched onto herself. And then we'll do this, what's this, Vampire Palo for her own skin, but then again, I think that's a little too bright, so we might do. I think we'll probably do. It doesn't show up too well on this, but we probably might do the skull and crossbones paint. What else have we got here? Got shark bite, which we'll probably mix in with some. What's this? Wraith steel. Okay, that's a metallic. We don't need that. Death Knight black. I think that is also a metallic, but we'll have a look. Anyway, yeah. So we'll play around with some colours and we'll see what's what. I think all in all, really, it comes to the point of once the base coats are in, we'll just get the dirty stuff sorted. Okay, but yeah. So probably should have. As with all things, I've sprayed this too dark. But that's okay. That's fine. Because we can just be a bit messy at this stage before we start refining everything. Yeah, I loved the GameCube one. So good. I just absolutely blew my mind with one with the addition of Lisa Trevor. Two, the fact that they changed all the puzzles around so muscle memory couldn't hit in, and 3 Crimson Heads. Crimson Head zombies fucked my shit up. I'm getting a bit, just remembering all the times Crimson Heads just completely. It was the first time. It was like, it was because I'd been so like, I felt like such a Billy Big Bollocks because like the dog, the Cerberus jumping through the windows didn't scare me anymore. 4th, 5th, and 6th, or 7th in the garage. Amazing. Yeah, so I felt like Billy Big Bollocks because like, oh well, I know when the dogs are coming and this, that, and the other, and I'm like, this is all fine. Take out this zombie, take out this one. And I was like, why the? I was like, and then Crimson Head showed up, and I was like, ah. I was wondering why this game had suddenly added gasoline. By the way, for anyone who's wondering, these are Resident Evil board game minis. They got sent to me by the lovely people at Steamforged Games because their Kickstarter is live at the moment. So if you do love Resident Evil and you love board games, go check them out. You can get. They've got a couple of different. Like tiers and stuff like that, pledge tiers and stuff. I know they've just introduced like the all-in tier. I don't know how much that is, but I remember when the Kickstarter went live, I think they've got like another week or so left. When the Kickstarter went live, what I was very happy to see is what they've always kept is that the core box always incredibly affordable. In terms of board games, I think the core box, which gets you a heaping load of stuff. Well, I mean, it gets you the full board game and things. Things like £72 plus all the stretch goals and stuff. And the core box comes with Lisa Trevor, Barry, and also the Tyrant, and Jill and Chris and Rebecca. And I think the stretch goes they've unlocked a bunch of other Stars members, so you can play as multiple characters. It's great. I'm just trying to get keep painting. She's got a big old rip in the side here. Not quite showing off side boob because this is an exposed rib cage, but you know. The point still stands. With 250 quid, I need to stay away from tabletop game sites for a bit. Oh, what did you get yourself, mate? Please, so please share. So I've been trying to be good, and I haven't actually really bought any new models for a while. Did get the new? I got the Warhammer Day Vampire to add to my Soul Blights, which I'm very happy about. I like that. They said it was a made-to-order thing, so I wasn't expecting to see it until, like, you know, back end of February or something like that. But nah, turns out it arrived like yesterday, so they must have still had some in stock. I see. I decided not to go for Imperium in the end. I've got enough. I've got too many space. I've got enough Space Marines, and Mikey's got enough Necrons. Like, it's a brilliant, like, and you know, it's a brilliant thing to subscribe to. GNRPG's collected. Hey, Judge Man, you love your RPGs. You love your Dune. Why not? Why not live a little? It's always nice to have, like, one little, like, a nice little thing. Do you know what? I was expecting this to be like a terrible coverage thing, but it's actually not been too bad. Like, I'm going to have to do multiple coats, but not quite to the same degree that I thought I was going to have to. Which makes me a happy kaiju. Speaking of happy kaiju, it was Godzilla's birthday yesterday, so can we all get a happy birthday to Godzilla? Good news, maybe. Ah, Dragon's Throne. Yeah, that looked pretty cool. Mostly just 4-player townbooks with variant colours. Man, I need that house. That's fair fish, man. else do I need to be painting stuff? Yes, happy birthday, Mr. Lizardman. Now we play the fun game of pinning around all the little sort of tears and stuff. Play a wonderful game called I've Missed That Tear and I've started on a new section. Yes, even the 90s one. Just putting some more. Right, are you talking about the Broderick Godzilla? Or are you talking about Godzilla vs. Destroyer? See, I love this sculpt when it came through, but it's just, it's always nice when you get something like this and then you prime it, and you always find you can see stuff a bit better once it's primed. Then a zenithal really show the details, and then when you start putting base coats down, and you just get that, you start getting the pop of life into a mini, and you're just like, yes, this feels nice. It's starting to look good. Yes, good lad, fish. So as with sort of Barry, the plan here is for like base coat wash, highlight, just something achievable. Probably going to be here a little while with the skull and crossbones white here, but it will be worth it in the end. I think where this model is going to shine is the use of washes. So we get a couple of different washes and inks on the go. Oh yeah, we're going to paint this little bit in here as well, because that's technically part of her. Paint that in. Then, oh yeah, I did exactly what I said. I missed a spot. Like the Broderick one's not like, it's not my favourite by any stretch of the imagination, but you know what, they tried something and it didn't work. I'm just gonna adding some more water to the old wet palette. There we go. Yeah, little fish would not be a fan of the back of the arms here, just looking a bit patchy. The main thing is I just don't want this base coat to look a bit, you know, patchy or chalky. If you take the time with the base coats, it makes life a lot easier for yourself later. Okay, that's the skin thing. Yeah, Siskel and Ebert. Oh yeah, because they play the it's not. Is it them or is it? It's not them, but it's them as the mayor of New York and like his aide, and it's this weird thing where it just kind of comes across that that Roland Emmerich like just wanted to sort of like take the piss out of them preemptively, or did they piss him off for the review of one of his other movies? I can't remember now. Or was it like a, hang on, what do you call it? Like in Gremlins 2 when they brought them in because they they shit all over the first Gremlins, so they asked them to come in and like kill them off. Right, so that's that. That was it. It was meant to be them. And for some reason they're like controlling New York. Sure, why not? Yeah, you're not wrong, it is confusing. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do the second tone of skin. So this is gnawed bone. So we'll see how this goes. I think this one we're going to afford to be a little bit more slapdash about. Where's me? Yeah, I'll just use you. So here we're just sort of painting up this skin hood that she's fashioned for herself. Which is not a worrying thing at all, is it? So we can afford to be a bit messy at this stage, but not trying not to be too slapdash, because I just don't want to make more work for myself later. So I think with Lisa Trevor, these are all made from like the skin of her victims or something like that. I think a mother's one of them. One of the faces that she puts over herself. Oh, just remembered as well. Guys at Steamforged have released another Kickstarter. This one's more D&D based, and it's for more college-aged adventurers. So, you know, sort of like teens and young adults, that kind of thing. You know, I can't remember the name of it, but I think it's coming to Kickstarter very soon. I posted on, I retweeted on Twitter because I saw them and I was like, they just look like a painter's dream. Because I am more than a little bit obsessed with the model team and the sculpting team at Steamforged. They just do such great stuff. So if you're interested, if you're if you're running something at a College of Wizards or a Fighters Academy or something like that, could be some good models in there for you. Oh yeah, you know what, this is not doing too badly. This gnawed bone is actually... Oh, I Actually, I really like this. Because don't listen to the names, kids. Don't listen to the names of paints. You see, Nord Bone is an excellent flesh tone, as we've just seen here. It's really, it's a really nice flesh tone. But this is the thing with miniature paints. They've all got very weird, they've got weird and wonderful names. And just a host of uses. Like I find the three colours that make up the Space Wolves. The Space Wolves, like so what is it, like Fenrisian grey, Russ grey, dog grey, whatever. Those three colours also make for excellent denim. So if you're doing like a pair of jeans, that triad just works for blue jeans. Excuse me, I'm tired. More coffee. Oh, out of coffee. So, probably need another. Hey Julie, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Did you have a good weekend in Newcastle, Julie? It's for your birthday, wasn't it? See, Jam gets it. Jam knows the score. What I'm doing here is just sort of blocking in there. Just making sure that it's all... Switch to a smaller brush just so for a bit more control over what I'm doing here. So also it gives me time for me to sort of ponder what I'm gonna do. I'll mix around with some colour mixing for the sort of the medical gown. Hey, that's brilliant. Trillions is an old haunt of mine, where I used to go when I was skipping school as a young tearaway. It has changed hands several times since then, and it's not quite the dive it used to be. I mean, it is a dive. It is still just a hole in the ground that serves booze, which is fantastic. That's my favourite type of establishment. But it's certainly a lot more legal about it, which is always nice. Trills is fantastic. Clooney's great. Clooney's usually been the start of me and Mikey's more debaucherous descent into madness. Okay, what are we going to do next here? It's just a shame that you never got to see my favourite bar in Newcastle. Gotham Town. Gotham Town was my favourite. Yes, the floor is incredibly sticky. But the staff are great and the drinks are cheap. So we're just going to do a nice sort of a dark murky brown just on the sort of shackle thing that he's got. Oh god, yeah, the day that, yeah, when the smoking ban came into Trills, that was a time, certainly. But Gotham Town was my ultimate stomping ground. Alas, it is gone now. Probably for the best. Ah, that's great to hear, Julie. There we go. So there's a little tufted hair coming down here, so we'll paint that in. Go. Yes, Graham, it's Lisa Trevor. So we're just doing Lisa Trevor up at the moment because we finished Barry about half an hour ago. I'll stick some proper pictures up in the Discord. Have a look at them. Right, so now we've got to work out is this a metallic? Let's have a look here. No, not a metallic. Okay, that's good. So what's this? Death Knight Black. But it's got a little bit of blue to it. So this could actually be, hang on, so we'll take some of this squog green. That might be too black, so we'll have to play with maybe snake bite or something. But we'll see. Here's the joy of it. We'll just play around with some colours and see what we get. Yeah, that's not gonna do what I want it to do. Yeah, so we'll need some blue in there. I think that Death Knight Black's gonna do some nice things, but not quite what I want for this. So I'll take a pinch of this, pinch of that. What we got here? Oh yeah, much better. Okay, so maybe if we take just a smidge of black, darken it down ever so slightly. Ha 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 ha, there we go, hospital green. Get in. Who wants it? None of yous. Perfect. Just when it all comes together, it just works, and you're just like, yes, this is what we're about right now. Oh, lovely. I know all the, like, from the reference pictures I've looked at, hang on here, it's a little, it is a bit brighter, but this is just a sort of a base coat, so we'll play around. I'll put some of that skull and crossbones in just to lighten it up a bit. So it's Thursday today. We go Friday tomorrow, so it'll be the weekend. So does anybody have any grand weekend plans? Bonus points for anything, you know, hobby related? I think I might be having a game of 40k against Cleary this weekend. Maybe, we're not sure.
Otherwise, I want to try and get some more hobby done. Haven't actually had any proper hobby time for a little while.
Oh, barbecue.
Nice. Okay, what's your go-to barbecue treat? Excuse me there. I have this really nasty habit of like balling my foot up on the ground and then pressing on it and then going, why does my foot cramp? It's like, because you're an idiot, that's why. So, pro painter advice, don't fucking do that. Oh, well, happy birthday to your dad on Saturday. That's awesome. Ribs is a good one. I fucking love ribs. I'm a big fan of the chicken wing. Fucking love chicken wings. But when it comes to barbecues, usually like I'm just like just hook a brother up with a shitload of hot dogs. Like, just fuck my shit up with hot dogs. That is what the body craves at my barbecue. But, you know, if we're gonna go, like, but not just like the generic hot dogs are pretty good, like they're good, but bratwurst, fucking love a barbecued bratwurst. That shit is tight. See, Graham gets it. Now, if only the people that invite me to their barbecues could understand the same basic concept. Just put a grill conveyor belt on your barbecue and just, hot dogs, please. Thank you. Okay, so what I'm doing here is just doing like a really messy sort of highlight now. Just on just general sort of like raised surfaces and like flat areas, this shit like that. Because I'm going to be going over with this with like some with a dirty, muddy green wash. So I just want to get some bits picked out now. So it'll show through the wash, you know, like, so the wash will show it. Bratwurst, I have been summoned. Yes, mate, just discussing how much I fucking love bratwurst, mate. said it before and I'll say it again. You Germans, you know how to eat. Like bratwurst, a soft pretzel, and chips, and all of it just automatically comes with mayonnaise. Small bratwurst, sauerkraut. Sauerkraut as well, man. Sauerkraut's a fucking boy. I think my love of German cuisine has come from two places. My mum lived in Berlin for a number of years when she was in the military. So she really picked up a taste for German food and brought it back with her. Two, went there on a school trip and just had the best fucking time. So yeah, I'm moving very quick here because I don't want the layers to dry too much in between highlights. That way it'll all sort of blend into one, which is sometimes referred to as wet blending. Also using sort of like very thin wet layers of paint like this. It's get a sort of just a nice little blend because it all mushes together. Because each lot, because what I'm doing here is I'm pushing around all the colours and things, and they're starting to blend, as you can see here. Adding a little bit more white of the skull and bones to each subsequent layer, you can see that blend going on there. So what I'm doing is mushing the paint all around so it's not a stark change from one tone to another, but also keeping the paint thin enough that it works as a filter over each layer. Yes, wet blending is really handy for cloth and capes because capes usually have some kind of, like, you know, wind element to them. So if they're, they're billowings, things, they're not just hanging static, because miniatures will have some kind of dynamic pose, so there'll be a force position them. So when you wash a cape, if you just do a wash, gravity will do its usual thing and sort of it will pull down at the recesses, and it doesn't look natural, because your eyes looking at it and going, oh well, there's wind or there's movement, but what's happening is the gravity is acting on a static figure, so it doesn't quite match up to how your eyes do it. But wet blending works really well, because then you can emphasize the dynamic movement of a cape or flapping cloth or whatever, whatever it is you're doing. Okie dokie. So I'll do a little bit. So I'll put the quickly do the little metallic bits. Awesome. It's just these shackles around the ankles. Nothing. Not spectacular. Around here where the shackle, I don't know what that thing, it's called really, like cuffs. It's probably got some like actual name, but I don't know what it is. So whatever it is, it's horrific and it's barbaric. Like, it's also the idea is I like that she's like, they've put these wooden, this like wooden cuff on her, because she's clearly too strong for like regular handcuffs or something. So, now we'll do a bit of a wash. Now this is the thing. So, it looks like it's going to be a bit of Reichland for the flesh areas, and then a camo shade for the other parts. So, yeah, that works. Yeah, that adds a little bit of warmth, but not too much. So really what I want to do here is mainly it's just tinting the skin tone. And just letting it go into the various recesses. Don't want to go too ham. A light hamming. But I could probably stand to go a little bit darker in these sort of recessed parts here. Just just because they would be darker. And then, as I always say, if you start on one area, make sure you finish it, just so you don't get any tide marks or anything like that. You don't want to. I'm just trying to be careful not to overspill this flesh shade onto the cloth. But since Lisa's quite a grungy sort of amalgamated mess of like flesh and cloth and bone, it's not the worst thing in the world if things do muddy together. So just see, just like that, just bringing a little bit more definition to the skin. Right. Now what we'll do camo shade on the cloth and like the metallics and stuff to give it a bit sort of like a wet, damp, grungier sort of thing, rather than Agrax, which just sort of makes it a little bit dirty. Camo shade has a twinge of green to it. I say a twinge of green to it. It's green with a twinge of brown. It's a swampy colour. Just sort of what you want here. Now this is where I don't mind the two sort of melding a little bit with the stuff between the skin parts that are showing. Like washing all this bit here. It's alright if someone gets in and sort of maybe like around the hands, it's okay. Because that shows that she's sort of been in it for so long that it's starting to like accumulate whatever, like the mildew and moss and stuff. Same with like the get the idea that she's, you know, she has been walking around like barefoot in sewers and marshland or wherever she's been traipsing around. Go. What do you look at? to 12 o'clock. Base covered. So I'll bring that up to the camera and I'll play around with the focus so we can see it properly. There we go. So it looks a bit shiny because it's still wet, but we've got some nice depth in places. So we'll do some more of this again next week, I think. Oh, hang on, there we go. But it's coming along nicely. I dig it. Right. Set the focus back. 18 or something like that. Right, so we will call it a day on that, and actually, no, sorry, we'll show Barry off again. So the big buddy. Also, yeah, we'll finish there. Just a little bit of a touch up around the base, but then otherwise he's good to go. But yeah, so we'll call it a day there. We'll come back to it next week. It's been lovely having y'all tune in, have a coffee, have a chat. I'll see you all next week. If I don't see you beforehand, I'm in the Discord, usually around, so if you just give us a shout, I'll pay attention. But yeah, take care of yourselves. Have a lovely Thursday. Have a lovely Friday. Have a lovely Saturday. Have a lovely all of your days. And just generally, have a good time with it. Thanks again for stopping by. Peace.